Hello everyone, welcome to Visit Malta channel. In this video, I am going to talk about application for Schengen visa for the single working permit that is required by the VFS Global. Okay, so in my previous video, I was already explained the requirement by the VFS checklist, as you can see here. And in the checklist, the first one is the application form, which I'm going to discuss in this video. And I have already explained about the declaration of proof that is required by the VFS Global when you apply for the work visa, which allows you to travel here. Okay, if you missed the video, you can check my last two video from the date of this video release. All right, and let's go to the Schengen visa application, and this is the visa, and it's a visa application form which you can download from directly from the VFS Global website. Okay, under the download forms, or you can documents required, you can download the visa application form. Okay, so let me explain one by one. And many people will think that it's a very simple form that you have to, which we can fill it easily. But please make sure that there are information that you have to very careful, and it depends your travel insurance and the flight itinerary ticket date. Okay, so which I'm going to explain and covered in very detail in this video. All right. So first, this application is you can fill by handwritten title case or uppercase. Okay, and the first thing is that you have to place your photo based on the photo requirement, which as mentioned already in the VFS Global website. Under the photo specification, you can download this photo specification, which is this. So your photo has to be exactly, not exactly. So if 1 or 2 mm different, that's completely fine. But just match close to the 35 mm and 45 mm, and the face has to be covered exactly the head and neck. Okay, as you can see in the sample, the right photo is like this, and even with the specs and the background and all other things that you can clearly verify how the photo should be look like. For example, in this photo, if you notice, the hairstyle was close the right eyes, and which is not correct. So you have to be very clear when you take the photos. All right. So first, the photo requirement, you know it already. Now let's go to the surname. Surname is basically your last name, okay, or your family name, okay. So you have to fill the surname, all right. And then surname at birth. Some people have a family name and in the birth, and some people have call by names, okay. So my recommendation is to just exactly match the name that is there in your passport travel document, because that is the document will be always verified and compared by the embassy people who's reviewing your visa application. Okay, so if you have a surname mentioned in your passport, please mention the surname, and you can leave this blank, the second one. Okay, and if you don't have the surname in your passport, just leave it, and just leave only your father name as a surname. Okay, that's very important. And the first name, you know it, it's your name, exactly match with your passport. For example, if the name is Dilip Kumar, you just Dilip Kumar with the space between Dilip and Kumar, match exactly Dilip space Kumar. That's very important. All right. And the date of birth is, you can write the date of birth in the format of day, month, and year. Okay, and place of birth where you born, and country of birth which country you born, and the current nationality which country you actually born, the nationality. Okay, and the sex, of course, you know it's a male or female. All right, and marital status, you can check if it's a single or married and separated and divorced or widow. All right, that's one thing. And in case of minors, you can add the minor's first name and the last name. That's it. Okay, as they required surname, first name, and address. Yes, address also it's required in case of minor. All right, and by national identity, maybe you can call it Asian and comma then your country name. All right, Asian or European or American, something like that. Okay, And type of travel document, you have to mention that if it's you're holding an ordinary passport, a service passport, or a special passport, or diplomatic and official passport. So mostly it will be ordinary passport, I believe. So you can check the ordinary passport, just tick mark. All right. And travel document is nothing but your passport number and date of issues and valid until and until what year the passport will be expired. Please note that your passport has to be valid at least a 3 month validity when you apply for the visa, and it should have a minimum of 10 to 10 pages blank pages to seal your visa copy. So if your passport is about to expire, is less than 3 months, then you're not eligible to apply this visa, and you might get the visa rejection. So please make sure your passport is at least as a 3 months validity. If no, just plan ahead and renew your passport and get the new passport quickly and apply for the visa. All right. And issued by country, which country the passport was issued. Mostly it will be your country, or if you are in some other country more than 5 or 10 years, or during your passport expiry and you applied in a different country, so you will see that country name in your passport. So basically this information is already there in your passport. Just take a look at it and fill it based on the information in the passport. Okay. An applicant home address and email address, again, as per the passport, just please leave your home address and email address and telephone number. All right. So everything has to be matched exactly in your passport. All right. And number 18, a residence in a country other than the country of current nationality. All right. So if you're a dual citizen, if you're holding additional citizenship in apart from your country, then you have to mention that information by ticking S and residence permit number and valid until. Okay. If you don't have any dual citizenship, you're holding only one citizenship, you can just disregard it and say just click on it no. All right. And current occupation, you can mention your current occupation. If you don't currently in a work, you can mention your previous designation, or you can mention your professional designation. But don't worry, this application form not required your experience certificate from your employer or something like that. You just mentioning your professional experience, whether you are a painter or a construction engineer or a software engineer, something like that, or a designer, something like that. Okay. And 20, employer and employer's address and telephone number. For student, name and address of the educational establishment. So here you have to fill your employer address. Okay, so you have to fill your employer address exactly that has been given your contract. Okay, so that is very important. If you're a student, you can name your the college or university name and address that you have come to Malta and study. All right. And the main purpose of the journey, you can mention you're coming for the tourism or business or visit family or friends, and just check the appropriate check mark only one time. Okay, don't check everything else. You might get rejected. Okay. Okay, number 22, member state of destination is then nothing but it's a Malta, because Malta is the one that you're going to destination arrive. Okay, and member state of first entry, which means when you're traveling to Malta, you may reach other EU region like France, from France to Malta, German to Malta, or Italy to Malta. Okay, so that time, if you're landing in the first EU, okay, EU country, and catching another connecting flight to reach in Malta, you have to mention that country name here, okay. So that's what it says, member state of first entry, all right. So if you're reaching to German and German to connect, catching another flight to Malta, you have to update here in German, okay. And this is the destination is always a Malta, all right. Number of entries required is nothing but during this three during your visa procedure. I mean, not the during your visa procedure. Once you got the visa and reach here in Malta, if you wanted to travel multiple time, You can check multiple entries. Okay, so if you check single entry, you are allowed to travel only one time. So my recommendation is to carefully check multiple entries. That is very important. Okay, don't check by mistake for single entry, two entries, and just make sure you check for the multiple entries. Anyway, whenever you apply for the visa, the embassy of Malta will grant you a visa only for the 3 months. Okay, so don't get shocked why you get the 3 months only visa. Okay, that's a default procedure that they will give only 3 months visa. So once you got the visa in 3 months, so you have to travel within the 3 months and reach here in Malta and apply for a residence card, which will give you for 1 year. So that is the card that you can hold it and consider as a visa for 1 year, and you can travel any number of time to your country and back to Malta. All right. So don't worry about if you see 3 years, only 3 months visa was granted. I was explaining this about why it's 3 months and what you can do within the 3 months and how you can apply in the residence card once you reach here in Malta in the separate video already. So if you don't watch it, if you didn't watch it, you can find the video in my channel and you can watch that. And and please don't forget to subscribe my channel. All right. So I see many people are watching the video and didn't subscribe my channel. So the more subscribe will help more people to. The video will reach more people to understand the process of Malta working permit, and it really helps a lot of people. All right. So please don't forget to subscribe my channel. All right, let's back to the form number 25, duration of the indented stay or transit. Okay, so this is actually very important. So you can mention always 365 days, which is 1 year, even though if Malta embassy was giving you a 3 month visa for which allows you to travel, you can mention 365 days. All right, just mention 365 days. That's it. So you don't need to mention the date and all, right? Next one is Schengen visa issued during the past 3 years. If you have traveled any other Schengen visa like Italy, Germany, in any other EU region, and you are holding that information in your passport, in the past 3 years, you have to mention that information. Yes, and what is the date and ending date was the visa was given to you for other Schengen countries in your passport. Okay, if you don't have any information, you can simply check no. Okay, but make sure if there is no information about your passport. Okay, in your passport, if you travel to other Schengen visa in last 3 years and you didn't mention it properly, then you may get a visa rejection. So please make sure you properly follow this and leave the information, okay, as required. Okay. Fingerprints collected previously for the purpose of applying for a Schengen visa. There are chances that you applied for a Schengen visa previously and it was given to you like you mentioned in 26. If the fingerprints already collected, you can say yes or no. And if yes, then the date of fingerprints collected, if you know it, all right, you can give an approximate date. That's not an issue. If there is no information about any other Schengen visa in last 3 years, then you can just leave it like that. Okay. So you may have another question when I say past 3 years. So from which date the past 3 years is considered? So you may calculate the date that you are filling this form or that you are applying this form through the VFS. From the date you can back to the 3 years and calculate if you have any other Schengen visa information in your passport. Okay. Entry permit for the final country of destination where applicable. So this you can leave it blank. This is related to the Schengen country if you have anything in your history. So you can add or leave it the entry permit for the final country of destination where applicable. Right? And indented date of arrival in the Schengen area and indented date of departure from the Schengen area. This is very important. The reason why it's very important is you have to mention which date you are planning to come approximately here in Malta. Okay, so this date is very important because this date will be compared with your insurance date and also your flight itinerary date that you are preparing for this VFS when you submit your application For example, if your insurance says your insurance is starting from the assuming starting from the February 14th, okay, and you are planned to travel February 8th before your insurance date start, then your visa will get rejected. Okay, so you have to make sure the indented date approximately started from the date after the insurance date start. So basically, when you travel, the insurance has to be accommodated during your travel. So you have to calculate very carefully when you update the starting date in this application form. Okay. So my recommendation is to plan ahead. As I mentioned in my previous video, plan ahead your traveling date. So and take the insurance more than 3 months and no, 3 to 4 5 months, and add the date during the insurance date of your starting date. Okay, and ending date you can calculate from 1 year, and you can give approximate ending date. That's not an issue, but make sure that it is not greater than 1 year. Okay, even though if they are giving 3 months visa, you don't have to worry. You can give the ending date which is less than 365 days. Okay, for example, if you are placing February 14th, then you have to make sure the ending date should be something around January end or February first week, something like that. Okay. 31, it's a 31A. Just consider as a 31A. It should be the address of your hotel or your accommodation as per the declaration proof that you have mentioned here. If you're not using the declaration of proof, you can mention the hotel address exactly here, or you can mention the address that if you're signed in the lease agreement. Okay, because in the checklist you have to provide the hotel booking or lease agreement or declaration of proof. Okay, so whatever accommodation you're going to choose, that is the name of the person, contact name of the person, and the address has to be placed here, and the telephone number of the person, of the contact of hotel or the house owner or your friend who is going to give you the accommodation. All right, that's the information about. And here you can just mention company name and address. Here you can mention the contact person in the company. All right, so that's the difference. All right, so if I'm not clear, again, name and address of your company name and address, and the telephone number. Here the contact person in your company, it might be your HR. All right, that's the thing. And cost of traveling and living during the applicant stay is covered. Okay, so VFS and Embassy Malta wanted to know who's going to take care of the cost of living during your stay in Malta. All right. So most of the time it will be by the applicant by himself. You can take this one, and means of support, you are going to bring the cash or traveler's check or credit card and prepaid accommodation. So you can check the necessary actions. So you can check the credit card and cash, and that's more than enough to show you that you have enough funds. Okay, and you don't need to give a bank statement, because in the VFS checklist there is no requirement for the bank statement. So you can just simply check it out. Okay, and make sure you're not taking a huge amount of money, because there are some limit. You have to hold your cash. If it's more than the limit, then you will be fined. Okay. And this section is, if during your stay, if your sponsors, it could be your friends, or it could be your company, or it could be landlord. Of course, landlord will not support you. Just saying. So if any other person who is sponsor or supporting your financial during your stay, you can check by the sponsors, and you have to provide the name of the person that is mentioned in 31 and 32. 31 and 32 is nothing but your the contact person's name. All right, the hotel stay and whoever is giving you accommodation in the 31 and 32. Right. And again, it's the means of support is just same like that. How they are going to support it, whether it's a cash or accommodation going to provide on all expenses, prepaid transport and others. Okay, so my recommendation is just to make it simple. Don't give too many information to make it more complicated. Simply select by the applicant himself and the cash and credit card. That's more than enough. All right. The next one is personal data of the family member who is an EU, EEA, or CH citizen. So, if you have any any your family member or any your friends staying in the EU, Okay, so you can give them their information, surname and first name and date of birth and nationality and the travel document number and how they are relative to you, whether they are your spouse or children or grandchildren or any dependent ascendant. So you can, if you have any friends or reference, you can give and you can just leave it blank. So it is not compulsory to give this information. So you can leave it blank if you don't have any other person, uh, like mentioned, spouse and children or anyone else. All right. So you can leave it blank if you don't have any other person. All right. And last one is the place and date. Just to make sure you write the date of the application that you are filled this form, or when you going to the VFS on the respective appointment date, you can mention that date and place, and make sure you sign the copy here. And also you can just read it, the terms and conditions, and like it's saying, I'm aware of that the visa is not refunded if the visa is refused. Okay. And the last one also same, just you have to write the place and date and sign the document. And that's the very important information when you fill the application form. I hope it is very useful. And if you see the right side information, it shows for office use only. So please do not touch any of this the right side information. And my recommendation is to use the blue color ink, and if it's a title case or a all capital letter, that is completely fine. You can write it very neat and clean. And very important information is that you have to match all the information exactly that is matching in your passport, because that is the travel document that everyone will verify always by comparing this form on the travel document. And also the other very important information, as I said, the indented date to travel, that is very important. You have to mention it very clearly. So during your travel, it should be accommodate your travel insurance also. All right. So hope this video is very useful. And if you think it's very useful, please like. And if you have any clarification, you can always reach me out. Visit to malta@gmail.com, which I can help you out, and or you can leave it in the video comments, and I'll try to reply less than 24 hours. Okay. And please share this video to the many of your friends who's really required the procedure to apply for a VFS, to apply for a visa through the VFS Global services. Okay. And see you in the next video. Thanks again. Good luck.